Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. Hey, I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering the Love and Marriage, not the Love and Marriage Detroit. We are back for part B of season 2. I'm glad they're back, but y'all did take too long to come back. But anyways, this is episode 2B. Season 2B, episode 7. I got that out of the way. I appreciate everyone who comes to my channel. Please like this video and you can share. Also, you can leave your comments below and subscribe if you are new to this channel. Let's get into this episode. Okay, so as I said before, y'all took too long. I'm sorry with these 1Bs and 1A. For me, it's not working. I know it's working for y'all for whatever y'all got going on, but for them to have 12 regular episodes and probably a 2-parter reunion, we could have went all the way through, in my opinion, because what are we doing? It's not... I understand that there was timing because there were breaks in between where the Olympics were going and all this stuff where all of a sudden television shows had to be preempted. OWN has decided that at least all the Love and Marriage has got to be front to center at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Cool. They did try to have another show after Huntsville. I guess it didn't work, whatever. So we're kind of just left with what we got. But still at the same point, we should not have been delayed this long. And now that it's been delayed, and we know that you guys film in the wintertime, so have y'all already started filming for season 3? Has it been picked up for season 3? That would be a more logical answer, but who knows? I guess I'm done with my fussing. It's just like, look, we love the show, and we need a whole lot more for us to stay invested. I'm sorry, I know that Huntsville is the bread and butter, but Lord, can we be a little bit gluten-free on that show right there? Please. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I'm really getting into this episode. So we start off. Daddy's back. This is the Smiths. Daddy and the children, they talk in regards to him being back home, and the ladies, they talk about their feelings. Peyton, I think it is, said that she was angry when Daddy was gone. And I believe the other daughter ended up saying that she was sad because she couldn't spend as much time with Daddy. Brandon let them know, in regards to where he is, he didn't really know if he wanted to stay a family, but he did not know if he wanted to still be married to Mommy. But he's figured that out, and he does want to, and he's back here in this thing. So from there, we find out in the confessional, there's a lot of work to be done. Brandon does admit that, and he's willing to do the work. Christina is going to let him be the man that she's always wanted him to be, which is the person that leads, the one that sets order and all this stuff that needs to be done in the house. I commend them for wanting to make it another try. The first part of the season was kind of like, ooh, but those are the ugly things. Those are the honest things that have to be dealt with. If you want to still be married, even if you don't want to stay married, it's good to have discovery to know what went wrong and even why you don't even want to be together, Yeah, you got a lot to do, Brandon, and as far as establishing yourself, I believe you're probably late 30s, early 40s or so. It's time to just be a man. A man of someone of order, of integrity, of principles, someone that is husband worthy, in that regard. So I get it. If you're willing to do the work, do the work. So then Brandon had announced, I'm here to set order, and then Christina was like, "You set an order, not setting order with these clothes on the floor," because he came back with a wad of clothes. We're like, what the world? But yeah, so I hope things work to the best for all the Smiths. That means the children too. So. Okay. Next, we go to the Thompsons' home. I think Anthony and Latoya, they're in the kitchen, and the daughter, Ava, I think it is, was already in the kitchen, but then they called down the boys, which is Anthony and Aiden. Hopefully I got that right. Anyways, Latoya wanted them to talk in regards to what's going on with life and what's going on with school and all that. Now, Anthony knows what's up. Anthony has this relationship and all that good stuff with them in a way that LaToya doesn't. Her trying to get information out of him is not really good. So then they excuse the children away and they talk a little bit. Anthony says, and LaToya agrees, that she can be a perfectionist. She says, you know, even though I'm a perfectionist, you know, I still love my children and I'm still there for my children and they can talk to me. He says that they feel that way because of how you probably will respond to them or have to say, instead of just kind of like being more chill. I guess Anthony's more chill. So I guess Anthony's a little bit more of the fun parent. And LaToya says, you know, I just expect a lot from my children and from the people that are around me. Anthony feels like that LaToya is very critical of him. And she doesn't feel that way. Again, she said that she just expects a lot, you know. Maybe because of all that she's achieved and maybe how her growing up and rearing up has been. This is her life in regards to that. And maybe some people just clock out of that type of pressure of feeling that way while around her. And that could be for any type of home or whatever. Next, some of the ladies, they go out, which is LaToya, Colby, and Kimberly. Kimberly has asked the ladies to come sit and all that good stuff, but she's late. So LaToya and Colby, they talk in regards to her pregnancy. She's 7 months pregnant, and I think LaToya said, "You're doing fine." And she's like, "Fine? I haven't even packed my bag yet." LaToya talks about her first pregnancy and how I think either the baby came early or still came, but she wasn't prepared. She was having contractions and crawling on the floor trying to pack a bag. Her mom had told her to do it way ahead of time, you know, all that good stuff. Kimberly gets there, she apologizes, like, "Look, I asked you to be here and I'm late and that's not something I do, da 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 da." Colby talks about that they're going to get an au pair, meaning a live-in nanny, not just a nanny that comes from 8 to 6 or whatever, you know, but they would actually live there and really take care of a lot of things concerning the house. Just like Maria did on The Sound of Music. "Doe, a deer, a female deer," you know, that one. She comes in and takes care of a lot. I think that will alleviate a lot of stress off of Colby. Kim, she does say that her and her husband did consider getting an au pair, but they were just leery because they didn't want no stranger in their home like that. Russell was against it, and I think Colby, she said that she was against it, but she warmed up to the idea after meeting the au pair. Now, all I gotta say, it is one of my favorite movies, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It is my favorite movie. I just can't. What was the movie? Ooh. The villain was Peyton. Ernie Hudson was the repair person, the family guy that everyone loved. Ooh. I forgot the movie. Never mind. We won't even go there. So anyways, they are totally 1,000% ready for that. We know that Colby is stressed with just having her daughter that she does have now. So anyways, Kimberly gets into the whole Christina thing. Kimberly does admit that she did get a little feisty or whatever during that whole event, but she just said, you know, we're good. You know, LaToya was like, "You're good? No, we're just going to be good on each other. Christina doesn't want to admit anything, and we're just going to be cordial and all that good stuff." So, and she says, you know, "I'm done ducking and diving, not being around in this circle, da 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 da, or that circle, and you're just going to have to get used to seeing me." So, oh, okay. And the last thing we hear from them, because they talk a little bit about parenting and all that good stuff, but then Anthony is hosting a dinner for everyone, so that should be interesting. So Brandon and Christina and Bravo and Lakita, they go out. Bravo has another property that he's turning into a business, and it's going to be called Roses of Red. It's going to be a place with the ambiance of poetry, jazz, and live music. He also said, you know, that could be the place that you could go, Christina, to release your new album, or first album, I think it is. Christina said, "Yeah, you know, Brandon is training me, but he wants me to go through this boot camp." Look, I follow Brandon's Star Factory and what he does over there. Y'all should go check it out, whether you're a singer or not. Or I'm not. How can I say this? Impressed means like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that." It's just like I'm past that point. Especially since last year, I was already singing a lot of that. So I'm just like, I'm in awe just seeing what he does in his in the Star Factory. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So Brandon's like, yeah, I want to see if you can measure up. I'm actually getting these people into and breaking them into stardom. So hey, let's get you in there. Christina says, you know, I don't really find time, and then he wants to do it at home, blah, 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 blah. He's like, well, we got to get it in. It felt a lot like Debbie Allen on Fame, when she was talking about it's going to take blood, sweat, and tears and all that if you want fame, blah, 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 blah. It's a famous line from the series Fame, and I think it was actually said in the movie Fame. Anyways, shout out to Miss Debbie Allen. So, they talk about Brandon being back in the home. She said, well, Christina said, while Brandon was gone, I was able to implement a lot of structure for our daughters. Now that he's back, he's a lot more lenient and doesn't really, you know, help in keeping that structure. I think Lakeitha, she was kind of relating to that about one of her sons trying to make something in the kitchen with yogurt and stuff. And then it was mentioned, like, you know, that they started doing that when I left. So basically he's saying it's more Lakeitha that's allowing the children to do that. I don't know. They talk about the man's movement. You know, Brandon was invited and he showed up. He didn't speak or anything. Bravo says that he wasn't even invited. He didn't know about the man's movement until the last minute. The last time he did speak and all that, and you don't know what's really going on. Brandon in his confessional was saying that this is typical Anthony, just being sketchy. As far as 1 minute he's just flip-floppy. 1 minute he acts like you are the best thing in the world, and the next minute it's just like you're nothing. Then they get on how the Dobines acted, or at least Kimberly acted, when they came to district for his, I think this his wedding anniversary or business anniversary, because I thought it was his business anniversary, but however, it was his event. And while Christina and Kimberly were going at it, at one point, Bravo said that he was like, that's enough, y'all. And I think he even looked at Marcel like, you know, get your woman, you know, at this point. I think Lakeitha said, you know, maybe they didn't hear you or whatnot, but I think he was like, that's not an excuse at this point, especially if I told the husband he could have helped in bringing in the reins and getting more hold on Kimberly and all that good stuff. But he says that Anthony's hosting a dinner and he wants to get an apology, or a few apologies. All right, so back at the Thompsons' home, LaToya wants to spend a little time with Aiden and Anthony. She rents out this luxury bowling alley. It's kind of like one of those buses that people are now riding in these days, but it was just more like a truck area, but inside is this bowling alley. If I knew that that actually existed, man, I would love it. LaToya felt like the boys were downplaying her and how she helps and how she is there for them and all that, you know. I am doing stuff, da 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 da. She did feel a little mom guilt because she is busy now these days. But I was like, how did this flip? Because I thought at one point Anthony was out of the house in Atlanta, and now it's flipped to where you're so busy, or really busy, and you're not really as you really want to be there more. But it's like it's flipped, and now Anthony has been the, how can I say this? The pro-parent. That isn't, it's not a good word to say, but I don't know what else to say or whatever. He's the more involved parent. I can say that much. I thought it was quite a twist as far as what we were hearing and all that good stuff. I think right now those boys would be kind of sick if you left Anthony, as far as, you know, taking a large amount of time away from the family, you know, because your boys seem to be very much in love with you. And maybe it was that way the whole time. And then when things happened during the civil unrest and Black Lives Matter movement, she just needed you in a different way, and your boys needed you to help them and talk to them and all that good stuff. So she talks it out and just says, hey, I love you and all that, and I'm here for you, and blah, 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 blah. It looks like Aiden takes after his dad a lot. Anthony is a little bit more reserved, I see, so I think he kind of takes after LaToya, but that's how I was seeing the whole dynamics there. The other one seems to be more outgoing. Not saying that the other one is not the older one, but he just seems more reserved, so, hey. All right, so the dinner. The dinner starts with Anthony course, Anthony, Bravo, and Brandon. Oh, the Joe Bidens, they get there. Kimberly sees that she's got on the same pearl design as Latoya. It's not the same, but then Bravo and Brandon, I think Brandon was the last person or the last couple to come in, Brandon and Christina. And Brandon has on the same sweater as Bravo. Anthony's doing all this shade in the confessional, saying it looks like Brandon had to have seen Bravo with that shirt and ended up wanting that same type of swag. I said, Lord. They ended up getting on Bravo's issue with the Dobines and how he felt like things were going with District. Kimberly said, look, I apologize for my part, that wasn't right and all that good stuff. Kimberly says, well, there's been other things that happened that have been a lot more big that's happened at District. Not sure why he's that upset, basically. But she said, I frequent your place and all that, and I apologize for what I've done. And now he wants an apology out of Marcel and how Marcel could have handled things, even though I was telling you about how I was feeling, like, let's shut this down. Marcel, of course, says he does not get into the woman's business, Anyways, after a long battle, Marcel did apologize, so everything's well in the world again. But Bravo's stepping up. He said, oh, no, I'm going to be in those credits one of these days. I'm going to get my photograph. No, they talk about Brandon being back in the house. Christina talked about when they first separated, Brandon would still come over for sex. And then Christina finally cut that off and just said, no, we can't do that. She had to stand on business, and he needed to figure out what he wanted to do. You can't just dip in and out of the house. Like, we ain't doing all that stuff. Russell asked a question to the group: how do you keep your children in their beds? Like, they can get, what's the child's name? Kendall, to go to sleep for a couple hours, and then later on, she'll come into their bed. Russell and Kobe's bed. I think, who was it? I think it was Kimberly that said, oh, they'll eventually stop, but they didn't really stop until the next pregnancy. Like, they just stopped coming in there or whatever. So it's kind of normal. It's something that just takes time, but at least you got Kobe to sleep in her bed for a couple hours, because that sometimes they have an attachment where they won't go to sleep, or you got to sleep in there with them in order for them to fall asleep. And then if they wake up during the night, it's kind of like, oops, well, that didn't work. Anthony trying to make a joke about this French nanny, basically the au pair that they have hired and all that. One thing Russell is going to do is get you together real quick, and that's stop. Anthony was swigging back a couple of them, so he was kind of a little bit loose in his tongue. Some other things he was saying, even his wife was looking at him like, but Russell said, not one more time are you going to speak about this French nanny. He said, okay. So he wasn't that licked up that he knew that, okay, Russell meant business. They talked about, are they going to have any more children, as far as the whole group. All the other couples said, nope, we are done. Then they talk about Bravo getting the snip. His wife wants him to get the snip, and he's like, but it's not even surgery, as they're trying to make it more dramatic. It's an outpatient surgery. Get that done. Brandon talking about that his pullout game has been superior, so he's not getting it. I mean, you do have 2 children. Unless they were planned, whatever. But, sir, you are not that great. And you're going to mess around and get something that you are not prepared. I'm just saying. The next thing, and the last thing, Kobe and Russell. Kobe is kind of just hot at Russell as to how he treats Kendall. Meaning, Kendall is potty training. Kobe has to be the enforcer. Russell won't make her do anything. And Russell, he's not hands-on like that. It makes Kobe look like the bad guy. At some point, while they're having their discussion or whatever, Kendall comes in. Russell asks, do you got to go potty and all that? I think she ends up going with Russell and saying, I want to go with you to the potty. I'm mad at Mom. Kobe says that's inappropriate. Now, look, I love how y'all like to be nice to y'all children these days. I ain't saying go in, go in, go in, go in. But I mean, no, that's not cool. So, with Kobe, I got to ask this. Now, it's not cool how Kendall wants to talk to you. Do you think that some of how you have felt internally, you have actually made your daughter feel externally? And that's why Kobe and you and your daughter have friction? Because you've already expressed that you don't really want a daughter. Russell is just like putty. He comes back and he does all that. He does not. And who are you? Kobe does not like that this goes on. I'm the bad guy, and you won't say nothing to her. And he says, I'm not that guy, at least towards women. I can tell you that much. But you know, you get to be the fun pan, and I'm going to be the villain. This morning, they were talking a little bit about being dismissive. Russell feels a certain type of way because, you know, he's doing everything he can and carrying everything on his back as far as making moves for his family. And it's been traditionally, the man is the protector and provider, and then the woman is supposed to nurture and take care of the home. And I guess Russell says that he retired Kobe so that he can actually do this, and this is what we agreed on. Let me do this over here. At the same time, as co-parenting in the same household, of course. Kobe needs help. Kobe been saying this for months. I'm struggling. And then it doesn't help that I have to be the one to be the villain and to make stuff happen, and then you can come in and just save the day. It's like, you don't have the same respect and attention that I get from this child that I got to be around almost 24/7. So it does seem unequally balanced there in regards to that. So y'all let me know how y'all feel. This is not Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is not Love and Marriage DC. If you're bored, okay. This is not your cup of tea. They're not going to be cussing and fighting and all that good stuff over here. They're all trained within the church. It's just not going to happen. So I like it for several reasons that I've given before. But anyways, we're back and I'm ready to see the rest of the season through. Hopefully there is a season 3. We shall see. But anyways, like this video, subscribe, share. Until the next one, peace.